Good day. Today I'm going to kit bash Coach Yard HO scale full width diaphragm. Going to remove the flexible vinyl material in there and replace it with latex, which then I can paint with Monster Maker's paint and it will stick. We need to just cut off the diaphragm. And clean it all up, cut it all off, get it cleaned up. The strike plate has a side here that you don't have to worry about removing everything, but you'll probably have to scrape this off. I haven't found anything to dissolve the material yet. So we end up with stainless steel pieces like this. And the first thing you want to do is lay them down and get them all flat like this. Flatten them out, get them nice and straight, then put the mounting plate up next to the strike plate. Make sure that they line up and everything looks pretty good. Now, since we're going to be gluing the latex on top of the edge here, I want to make sure the edge is nice and clean on both of them. And it's going to make it a little thicker, and so a little taller than the normal Coach Yard. So I found out that it'll fit a little bit longer on the car, so I cut off a little bit of the tip so that you can match up the new diaphragm. Okay, so we got those ready to go. Now we need to, this is TheraBand Extra Light Latex Exercise Band. Really flimsy. They call it tan. Anyway, lay that down on a nice clean flat surface. And we're going to tape over it, because when we cut the strips out, we can't have the latex swirling around on us. So you take a piece of tape just slightly longer, and you want to de-tack it. It's really important that you de-tack it so that it sticks. And I'm using blue painter's tape here, and I just de-tack it on my skin and work it for a while until I get it down about half the tackiness, I would guess. So I got a couple strips ready to go here. Place it up close to the edge. You don't have to be perfect. And press that side down really well, like that. Turn it over, make sure that it's on there really good. You want one strip to hold pretty good. The other one will be peeling off. Turn it over and take another slightly larger piece of blue painter's tape like that, so that you have some sticky sticking out over it, and place that over the top of the other one. Press it down, but maybe not as much. We want to be able to peel that off later. Okay. Flat, something that you can cut on. This is just a piece of styrene. Tape it on. Put it down like that. Turn it over so that this is up there. Then take a couple pieces of tape and hold down this edge so that it doesn't move. All you need to do is like put it maybe 1/8 of an inch or less on the edge here, just to hold this guy in place. You should be able to get 2 strips out of this. Just to create a nice straight line. So give it about 1/8 inch of tape there so something supports it. Get a fresh razor blade. It's really important to change out your number 10 blades often, so you have a nice sharp edge to work with. Alright, let's cut that. And put that to the side. Turn it over. Take the Sharpie. And mark 3/16 of an inch. Little dot there. Little dot on the other end. A straight edge on it. Take a knife and cut. You don't have to bear down too hard. It'll separate. And then peel off, and you have a strip. You can get one more strip out of this. There's your strip. So, got tape on one side, you pulled off the other tape on the other side, you can see the latex. Keep this just like this until we get this all glued onto the plates. Take a little piece of tape, glue it, put it down on the edge, leave a little of the latex showing on the end, which you can trim off later. Nice, clean, straight, 90-degree edge. We want to put it up flush as tight as we can. Get it right up to the edge, hold it down, and tape it down. Make sure it's up against the edge but not wrinkled. Okay, gonna rotate this so the strip is up at the top. Get ready to glue it here. I use the cyanoacrylate. I like to make a mixture of 50-50 of gap filling and a flexible CA glue. So I made a little pool here. If you can see that, just in the bottom of this cup. It will stay wet for quite a long time. Take the strike plate, and you have the outside part. So you want to have where the glue was and scratched up from you cleaning up and everything, you want to have that on the inside of the diaphragm. So we need to put glue along this straight part of this edge. Dab a little bit of glue and start covering this edge. Just the straight part. Don't go around the bend. Make sure you get it on there. Wipe off the excess. This side looks pretty good. Okay. I'm going to move my glue back a little bit. I don't think you need to look at that anymore. Then, make sure that the strike part you want, the clean part, is on the outside. Put it against the side, the straight side here, and leave some of the latex out over the edge. You can trim it later. You want to make sure you have more than less. And line it up, push it against here nice and flat, and push it onto the latex. Hold it for a little while. Doesn't take too long. And rotate this back around so we can work with it. Peel it off. Get rid of the tape. And you got to start. May have to clean the glue off the knife once in a while as it builds up off your blade. Get a little bit more glue on the tip of it, and with the diaphragm pointing down, strike plate out here, start putting it on the edge right up to where it's not glued. And run it down, push it on there, take your little swab here, wipe off the excess, glue, go on the inside, make sure you got that wiped off. You don't want any big piles in there. And just keep walking it around the. And make sure you have enough glue. Even if you miss something, we can fix it later. Glue. It's clean in there. And we'll just keep walking it around. And voila! Got it glued onto your strike plate. Trim this off a little bit, but leave it long. Leave it extra, we can trim it later. And on the other edge that we started with, leave that latex and that little bit of tape, sticky tape sticking out. Because you gotta peel off this tape when we're all done. Remove this guy and bring in our hold down pad. It's just a block of wood. Got some piece of tape on there reversed, taped over it so that my hands and fingers don't stick to it. Just wide enough to hold this. Put this edge of it up on non-sticky and let the sticky part hold the rest of it. Okay. Need to build a little block, little jig. It's a American Limited plastic strike plate, and it has a little ridge around it. You want to shave off that ridge and get this nice and flat and smooth around here. I put this little piece of styrene in here, 40 thousandths or something, on the inside, just to support this thing, because I've broken a couple while I've been working on it. So a little piece of styrene there helps real well. Then some shims made out of clear, exactly the same size. Has to fit this really close. You don't want any gaps where this might fall. So I got a 10,000 shim and a 15,000 shim, just made out of clear styrene. Okay, put the shims inside here, and you should be able to slide it in there, and it should fit flat down without any gaps between the curtain and it has to fit flat like that. Then we take the strike plate, the mounting plate, pick it up without bending it, and we want to fit it on the flat side and leave it stick out a little bit, because we're going to have to put some glue in there, and we don't want to get glue on the plastic American Limited plate. Make sure it's all lined up, nice and square. Take a piece of Scotch packing tape, wide enough to grab onto those glue spots on the mounting plate, and press it down to hold the mounting plate out above the American Limited. Make sure it stays straight. Press it on those little glue spots. Trim this off a little bit and wrap it around and pinch it together on the back side. Make sure that the mounting plate is square with the edges. Could have gotten that. Gotta get it square and flush. Alright. Then that fits inside here, and you've got a way to push it up and glue it in. Okay, now I like to put a little weight on it to hold everything down. So I got a little piece of my magnetic here. some museum putty. And I just like to put this on top of here. Gives me a little weight, keeps everything nice and flat. You will have to pay attention that the mounting plate stays against your block. Make sure that mounting plate stays what it's supposed to be. It is nice and square and flush. Okay, I think we can get that. You're going to have to put a little force on it, but not so far as to bend. You want it flat on the top too. So, all right, so we set that back. And start putting some glue on the edge. Try not to get it on the latex. I'll clean my little glue buildup here, so I'll just scrape this thing off a little bit. Get another dab of glue. And just dab it on that edge. If you miss something, or latex doesn't stick in a few spots, don't worry about it. It can be fixed later. Don't get around the corner too much. Maybe halfway around the corner of the plate. Don't worry about that excess glue right now. Important thing is to get it glued to the top. Then, because of the Scotch masking tape or Scotch packing tape, I can look down at the bottom and see that everything is lined up. Bring it up and push it in. Hold it for a little bit. Check and make sure it looks pretty level on the top. Yeah, looks good. And it's in there. And you can take a swab, wipe off this excess glue here a little bit. It'll be easier to scrape off later if you have to or want to. I think I can see a little bit of a gap right there at the top. So I'll just take a little bit of glue. Clean the blade. Take some glue on the end of the number 10 and wipe off the back side so that it doesn't go in on the diaphragm, and just work it underneath the edge where your gap is and stick it, push it on. And check it out. Yeah, I think we're good. It only takes like 30 seconds for that glue to set up where it's contacting the steel and the... Alright. Okay, so we have set in there pretty good. Take off the weight. Number 10 blade. Clean it up a little bit. Then we need to cut this Scotch packing tape in between the mounting plate and our little jig block. And just slice it down here. Free the block. Peel off the tape. And you should be able to slide the jig out. Get the rest of the tape off. Put it back in. And drop it down, because we're going to start gluing the rest of the way around. Line up the strike plate and the jig. Get it all nice and square and flat in there along the edge. Take a piece of masking tape. Fold it over one side so I could grab hold of it later. And put it over the mounting plate and the jig. Hold it down. Now as we glue these edges, it's a good idea to hold that mounting plate down against the jig. So now we can start building around the corner. I took one of my little swabs, flattened out one corner, and it makes a nice little tool to kind of hold the curtain away from the plastic. Put a little bit in here, up to where you need to go. Don't go down onto the plastic jig, just a little spot. Push it in, hold down the plate, make sure everything's nice and flat, push it in, turn it over, do the same to the other side. More glue, work it on the edge of the plate up to where it's glued. Hold down the plate, push the curtain material against it. Like that. Pull up your tape, pull the jig down some more, making sure that it's all lined up with the steel plate. And just keep walking her down. One side and the other. Don't glue into the plastic jig underneath, or you'll be starting over. Okay, I got it started here. And what you want to do is to slowly peel this off, looking for where the latex lifts off. There it is. I got one little gap right there. So you take a little bit of glue on your number 10, wipe off the back side, and just stick it in between there in the little place that got missed. And do it slowly so you can see that latex lift up. Oh, a little one right there. A little bit more glue. Wipe off the back edge so you don't get it on. Work it under the latex and then on the strike plate. Press it in. Keep on going around the corner. Thought I saw something there. No. Looks good, looks good. Looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good. There you go. Now you can deflect it and look for where the latex is not attached. Little spots you missed. I've done a lot of these and it happens every time. You just stop, work a little glue in underneath there onto the edge plate, but not on the diaphragm if you can possibly help it. Push it in, get it glued down, keep deflecting it all the way around. Yep. Okay, there you go. You have a latex material, and these are flexible, ultra flexible. You got something that you can now paint that will stay, make those three-tone colors, and really, really beautiful. You want to trim, if you know what length you want, you can go ahead and trim. I like to trim it just slightly longer because I can trim them when it's on the car. And there you have it. Kit Bash Coach Yard. Thank you. Have a great day.